Hello, Masters, and welcome to Soulfully Aligned, a warm place to help you to remember who you are, heal, and thrive. I am your host, Fatima, and today we're going to be talking about self acceptance, the dark side of self acceptance, and how to accept and see the pieces of yourself that you often hide from. Many times we see self acceptance and it's this vibrant image and positive image where people feel confident, they're feeling self assured, and they're living their best life. And they might have a following on social media or not, but when you see them, it's just this vibrancy of energy. And it's just like, wow, that person, he or she really feels and looks like they're confident and that they really accept themselves and nothing can really get in their way. There's no issues that they have. But remember, self acceptance is about fully enjoying and liking who you are, regardless of how you feel, and accepting all sides and parts of yourself, regardless of what has taken place. This is very important because there are also the negative emotions. There are also the feelings of guilt. If you've ever felt in shame or just resentful or remorseful or jealous or envious and compare, or you felt away after you were rejected from an opportunity, those are also darker. I call them darker emotions, not necessarily good or bad. Self acceptance is about understanding and learning both our light and our darkness. But I feel like there's a connotation of self acceptance and people being the light side of self acceptance. And I really want to explore the darker side. What's interesting is as I started to lean further into my darker emotions and really started to do more of the inner work, it's allowed the an understanding and being inside of like the darker spaces and seeing and meeting myself in those darker places. It has allowed me to have so much grounding. And when I tell you the being settled in who I am is further defined and is deepened because I have accepted and explored those darker sides of myself. In addition, it actually allows you to have more self compassion and then compassion for other people as well. I used to be one where darker emotions just frightened me because I really wasn't sure what to do with them. I didn't know if the worst thing could happen in a situation because now, someone's upset and angry. Remember, I'm a recovered people pleaser and perfectionist. And sometimes those things, although I have moved past them, sometimes those things do still creep up. And so when I was living in that space, and that was my mask, that's the way that I operated. When darker things, feeling away, when I may have felt jealous about something, when I started to compare, when I was rejected from opportunities, when my heart was broken and I felt tons of grief, it was scary to sit in because I thought maybe I wasn't enough. Am I ever going to heal from this? Does this take away from who I am? What do I do with these darker feelings and these emotions that feel so heavy? I don't know what to do. And that's where I want to bring you. I remember I used to listen to a song called Damage by her. And oh man, I still think about this song and I'll listen to it now. But I remember as I was going through and becoming healed and just doing the work, I immediately pushed away any song that made me feel like I was back into the state that I was in before. And I noticed that I was seeking songs back then that either were about struggle love. I'm it's hard for you to love me, or it's hard for me to love you, or some type of heartbreak or grief. If you even think about artists like a Mary J. Blige, like back in the day, you'll hear, or Faith Evans. It is a lot of depth and emotion because these artists are singing from pain and they're expressing their pain through song and artistry. And usually, when you're your most authentic, you're coming from a very vulnerable place and you're expressing these things in whatever art form, dancers, artists, in terms of music, drawing, paintings, voice work, whatever it is, you're coming from an authentic place. You've been hurt and you're restoring. Those songs feel good to us, regardless if it's any of the songs that I mentioned for you or not. But those songs feel so good to us because they touch a different part of ourselves that we may have hidden. And it's acceptable because they're in the music, they're in an art form that other people are singing too. So it doesn't necessarily call you out individually. It's a collective shared experience where you don't have to have the same exact situation happen, but you have the feeling and the depth of that experience happening. And I noticed I was listening to a lot of these songs, and I'm someone who enjoys movement. I enjoy yoga, I enjoy dancing, I enjoy skating, and I would be attracted to songs that had such a depth of sorrow or heartbreak inside of those songs. And inside of exploring those darker emotions, I went back and started to listen to the song Damage. And I started to really think about, wow, I have a lot of compassion for that version of myself whose heart was just broken and didn't understand that she was worthy to fully embrace the heartbreak, and that you can go through and experience cheating. You can go through and experience heartbreak and things just not working. And it is such a small price to pay for just allowing yourself to be exposed to love in the first place. And that's for those who have ever had their heart broken. I imagine that you have, if you've been in this adult life, it's happened. And if you really put yourself out there, it's happened. And I used to just protect and put a layer of just protection, and felt I needed to have protection because I don't ever want to have my heart broken. Have you been there? I can't stand it. If this thing happens again, I don't know if I'm going to make it. That type of depth of just breaking and sadness and grief. And I did not know what to do with those emotions. And what I love is that as I started to look, and as I'm looking at the darker sides and I'm exploring, well, what are these feelings? What was I going through? Why was I there? There is something so beautiful that you need to know about yourself, is that in those darker emotions, you have the ability, and the love that you are and the power that is within you can alchemize, meaning change all of the depth and the darkness that you felt and turn it into love, because that's who you really are. That's who I really am. That's who we really are, is pure love. And so inside of the darkness, it doesn't mean that you're not light. Darkness just means absence of light. Darkness just means the lack of awareness that you are light. So when you, if you can imagine being in a space, let's say you're in a basement that's super dark, and you might be a little nervous because you can't see from left to right. One thing that I'm starting to learn is I'm not afraid of the dark. Remember that show back in the day, Are You Afraid of the Dark? I'm not afraid of the dark because I'm learning and turning on the light that is within me that can see in dark places. It's not just one that shines inside of when a nice sunny day is here and now I'm also matching the sun's vibrant light. No, it's when it also is dark and it feels like it could be scary because that's a perception. But there's so much depth there. There's so much humanity. There's so much emotion. There's so much healing. There's so much restoration. Those are the feelings that help connect us, no matter what our socioeconomic background is, no matter your ethnicity, no matter your political views, no matter your gender, doesn't matter. It's the humanistic quality of emotions that we all have shared experiences. And so I believe it's just really important to just talk a little bit more about the darker side of self acceptance and the parts that you hide from. The challenge with darkness is when you run away from it and you don't address it, it can kind of be, even when you thought you've healed, it can kind of feel like, or be like, have you ever broken some glass and let's say you cleaned it up, you mopped it up, you got all the things that you thought, and then one random day you happen to walk in that same area and then you cut yourself. And there might be a little bit of blood, or maybe it's just a little bit of just there's an impulse to just move back and you go, man, I thought I cleaned everything up. Not doing the work and healing is similar to that. You can still do the work, but like dusting off the surface is one level of work. What I'm saying is do the work inside of that same area and go deeper, go deeper. There's more there. There's an expansive and vastness of who you are that you get to explore. The consequence of not doing the work can be detrimental. And if you have a situation and you know that you've been hurt, it can cause you to, and you believe that you're healed or you're healing or you just don't want to deal with it, It can cause you to go into another toxic relationship. Have you ever heard people say you're dating the same person, just different people? Or it can cause you to spend money that you don't have. It can cause an increase or a beginning or a start to other addictions that never needed to be there. It's a way that you suffer. All of these are symptoms, like they're ways that you suffer. They're ways of suffering that you're trying to do in order to aid what really you can't cover up healing. Like healing is going to be healing. Love is there's no replacement for love. It's either love or fear. And so if you're operating in fear and thinking that it's love, you're still treating yourself and others in ways that are harmful and you know aren't healthy, it's fear. It's fear. Only love when you increase and have love and allow yourself to be loved and be that light and see your darkness, love can transmute and transform and help you transition out of that darkness. Okay. So, some of the things that can come up is emotional detachment. You could just not desire to be in any relationship in close intimacy and vulnerability because you've been hurt for whatever reason, not even just in a romantic relationship. It could be a friendship, a family member, even in a job. There's just this emotional distance and detachment, thinking this is my way of protecting myself. You can get close, but not that close to me. That is a consequence of it. And the challenge with that is that we're meant to be in community. We're meant to be vulnerable. We're meant to be with those that have proved and have shown consistently that they are safe spaces and places for us to be that way. But that is how and where we get to learn, how we get to heal. Relationships are a part of this beautiful dynamic that we have on this earthly experience that allow us to continue to grow, help us to see ourselves and help us to see others and vice versa. It also causes a dysregulated nervous system. The nervous system is essentially your fight or flight response. And if you are constantly in a state of avoiding your emotions or avoiding these dark pieces, and like I said, you may have cleaned up the glass in your heart, but there's like little remnants that are around. Those things can cause additional stress. It's like trapped emotions, trapped energy in your body. And your nervous system can't tell the difference if you're in fight or flight. And what happens to something if you continue to press it? It begins to get weary. It begins to get exhausted. It doesn't work as quickly as it could. The response is severe. Like it's weakened in a way. It doesn't react in the same at the same level of integrity that it once could. Well, being able to flush out the different energy and looking at the dark emotions allows you to regulate your nervous system again. It allows you to come out of that state of stress and thinking that your life has to be inside of stress. That is what that's doing is saying that you're getting used to being in dysfunction. You're normalizing dysfunction. And that's not and we've all been there. I have certainly regulated and excuse me, not regulated. I have certainly been one to normalize dysfunction, not knowing. And that's the thing, that's the beauty is that you do the best that you can with the information and knowledge that you have. And so my hope is that you're learning and hearing that there's another way to do things. If there's any of these consequences or any of these signs that feel like, man, I think I do this, it's just me trying to give you information to say, hey, maybe there's something that I get to explore here and you can do it without feeling judgment about it. It's completely safe for you to explore that here. Another piece is you are constantly in a state of stress and then you're unconsciously seeking ways to be stressed even more. I don't know if you know this. This one is kind of sneaky. It's when you are, for example, if you are typically late when you go to work, but you know that you can get up an hour earlier and just, or even if it's 15 minutes, leave the house 15 minutes earlier so that you're not rushing to get into the office and rushing through traffic and do just 15 minutes. That's all you need. But somehow, some way, you continuously seem to get up at that same time and leave the house at that same time to create this level of stress to get you to move back and forth. It's you don't have to do that. You could just get up 15 minutes earlier, but exploring versus judging, but exploring why is it that I don't give myself that extra 15 minutes? Why is it that I need to be inside of stress and high excitement and energy in that way? Why is that something that's normal for me? And even in the slightest sense, it does dysregulate and impact our nervous system. Things happen at a cellular level that we don't often get or understand. And sometimes, for honestly, stress can be the largest cause of death and leading to chronic disease. So I'm mentioning these things because I don't want you to not have the information and the knowledge. I don't want you to feel like you're crazy when you're thinking about things and you're like, wait, could it be this? Could it be that? I'm here as your master partner to say, hey, look at these different things. You're worth a different experience. You don't have to keep living like this. Remember who you are. It's time to heal. It's time to thrive. And while I'm not a doctor, I'm giving you information about my own experience. I'm giving you information about what I've seen and observed in others, and also things from different public health institutes and websites that are credible as well. The master problem is the consequence of not handling and dealing with the darker emotions that you're feeling is that it does affect you at a chemical level. It affects you at a cellular level. It's not just you feeling like you might need to be punishing that person, that relationship, or that job. It is affecting you, and you are worth the healing. You are worth the good news. You are worth moving past this. And so, the reason I love Soulfully Aligned is because it really allows you to restore who you are. That's what this is about. This is about helping you to remember who you are and aligning every area of your life to the truth of who you are. And any upset or emotion or situation that comes that has you feeling separate from you, the truth of who you are, and the truth of who you are is love. You are created by love, to love, for love. And anytime your identity is different or feeling different in the way that you're treating yourself or others, it is time to get soulfully aligned. It's time to reconnect to the truth of your soul. Okay. This is great news. Being here, anytime there's any type of opportunity to explore yourself deeper, that's what this whole what I'm here to do is talking about self-mastery, self-actualization, exploration, figuring out and reconnecting to the truth of who we are, remembering who we are, independent of all the trauma, all the heartache, all the things that have happened generationally. It is about remembering who you are. So this is wonderful news because you are a creator. You are made by the creator to create. And the beautiful piece about accepting the darker side of self-acceptance is that you get to create a depth within yourself. And as you begin to heal and you begin to really land in your authentic self, you will be able to heal others. It's not meant just for you to stay with you. From this, you will begin to have your eyes open to see the suffering inside of other people and say, you know what, because of what I've gone through, it's important for me to share, to talk in whatever way that you can. I can tell you, God is so amazing, multifaceted, and endless in the amount of ways that He allows us to express the one central goal, and that is love. You might do it through your job. Someone might do it through being a mother. Someone else may do it by being a CEO and doing something. Someone may do it by wanting to just clean schools because they're just have a gifting for cleaning, or someone does it else in cooking. There are so many different avenues for how God and love can be shown. And for me, I'll just point this out. I love Jesus. Like, I claim God is in Jesus and the Trinity. But if that is not who you identify or recognize with, that is okay. Whoever your source of power is in your creator, there is only one. It's love. So that's who I want you to refer to. If it doesn't align to what I'm saying, that's fine. Make it match what works for you, but get the message. Don't miss the lesson inside of it. So here are a couple of ways that you are able to begin restoration. First, I want you to write about this situation. Write about exactly how you're feeling, exactly how it made you, what happened. Don't leave anything out. Don't worry about if it makes sense, if it is perfect, if it's legible. You know how you feel. Get it out of your body. It's called expressive writing. And there is science connected to this actually helping to reduce anxiety. They did a study, I think it was from the looking at my notes here, the National Library of Medicine. They did a study that for people for, I think it was for 3 months, they just did expressive writing and it helped to significantly reduce their anxiety. Anxiety is a fear of the future. It's hard for you to make decisions and be in the present because you're like, oh, this thing happened in the past. I don't want it to happen again in the future. So I'm going to try to prevent and control. It's also a form of control as well. I'm going to try to prevent and control and outthink and outmaneuver, ousobserve whatever could happen, to anticipate what could happen in the future so that you feel safe. It's a protection mechanism. It's from a trauma. But expressive writing can help you to significantly reduce anxiety. Another opportunity is to move. I love what I call flow. Soul flow. And what it is just any authentic movement that feels good to your body. So you can, for me, I told you before, I love yoga. I love dance. I love skating. I love things that just allow me to move. Whatever it is, move, 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 move. There's a lot, especially for women, trapped energy and emotions in our hips, in our core. That is where the center of our universe is, ladies. And it is a lot that can be stored there. And so, gentle hip movements back and forth, dancing, moving, running, jumping jacks, whatever it is to kind of get like a little bit of a sweat. And I even heard from Layla Delia, I believe it was, that when you take baths, so this is more of a slow flow, slow movement in the tub. But taking a bath, you're sitting still. But when you start to perspire, that's actually the point where you want to stay. Don't leave right when you start to get hot. You actually want to stay another 10 or 15 minutes because chemically and at a cellular level, there is a lot of detoxing happening. And that's what movement does. It helps you to respire, helps your heart and your lungs to flow a little better, gets your system moving. You may even notice something with your digestive system and going to the bathroom a little more after. It is a flushing and a detoxing mechanism that helps you to move those emotions out. Okay. My next tip is to meditate. Meditating is the process of focusing your attention with intention. And I heard this from a soul called Joel, which is so beautifully said. And what I love about this is meditation can help with neuroplasticity. What that means is it says that you can reorganize your thinking pattern. You can reorganize your brain cells into a new neuron pathway. And that's amazing because at a cellular level, when you think about it, how you feel and how you think, how you perceive your situations, if you are able to change from thinking that this thing that has happened is negative, but then you can alchemize it and change it through neuroplasticity into saying that this thing is good for me. I like this type of stress. You can differentiate between different types of stress. You know, the type where you're trying to get it to work and you're causing and creating stress by leaving late so that you can create stress versus the type of stress that says, I really want to start this business. I really want to enter this relationship. It's making me feel a lot of fear, but I'm overcoming my own limits. And this type of stress is good for me because it's going to help me to stretch and become and evolve. Remember, all things that are happening, especially if they're negative emotions, they are meant for you to alchemize. You are meant to always transcend those emotions. You are built for it. You are built for it. Another piece I want to mention with with meditation is shadow meditation. That has also been the thing that has really helped me to be okay with my darker emotions. I was a little nervous when I heard shadow. I'm like, I don't want, like, what is that? Is that super negative? I'm scared. What does this mean? But as I started to just be curious, right? Healthy curiosity can really lead to a lot of breakthroughs. As I began to get curious and I started to do it, and I would find myself speaking to that little girl, the younger version of myself, and I would begin to like give her baths and clean her up and let her know that it's okay. It wasn't your fault. You did the best that you could. And I got a chance to just continue to strengthen the relationship with my younger self that is so needed. And I thought that I was past that. And that was also pride. That was also pride. If you ever feel like I don't need to do certain things, girl, that's pride. It's okay to explore it. And if it doesn't work for you, move on. But allow yourself the opportunity to see what might be there. And doing this shadow work was so beautiful, and I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it. The next piece is affirmations. Affirmations help you to have a positive self-talk and self-narrative, and again, help you to change the way that you identify harmful situations or have had experience that could be hard. You can you can alchemize those things and transform them into a positive experience that you maybe needed to go through. Because remember, anything that you go through is helping you and it's also helping the other person. It may not feel like that. It definitely feels personal when you go through situations, but at the end of the day, it really is you, that person or that situation, whatever it was, on the opposite end of whatever the hurt is, they needed that situation just as much as you did. And it helped in some form or fashion, regardless if they acknowledge it or not, or whether you acknowledge it or not. It helped them and helped you in some form or fashion become who you are. It was necessary, and it's okay to change the perception of that situation. So, a couple of affirmations is, especially if you're going to do the shadow work and anything exploring the darker side, is that there is nothing to fear inside of me. There is only love. And I got this from another meditation, which is so beautiful. So I had to share it. Another one is, the more I'm willing to look at my darker experiences, the more I can have deeper self-compassion and build authenticity. How wonderful is that? You can do whatever one that you want. So if that doesn't match for you, create your own. This is an opportunity for you to, I'm just giving you things to kind of jog your mind. I have notes, so I'm gonna make sure I give you everything that I have. So I deeply hope that you were able to get something from this message, even if it's just one person who is like, okay, Fatima, thank you. I really needed to hear that. This blessed me. I hope you learned something. I hope that it jogged or allowed something to be highlighted within your own experiences. And remember, you are not your darkness. You are not the rejection. You are not the perfectionism, the people pleasing, the guilt, the shame, the judgment, the anger. You are none of those things. And you were always meant to transcend all of those emotions. They don't own you. They are just here as a tool to help you elevate. And remember, once you do elevate and as you begin to heal, it is time for you to also share what you've learned, because there are other people who need to hear from you. Whether you hop on a YouTube or a social media or not, like, you are the experience that you have embodied. Like, allow that experience that you've now transcended to be something that can help someone else, because they need you. You're going through this, whatever it is, for a reason. And the things you've gone through it, whatever it is, for a reason. It's not just for you. Share it. All right. So with deep love and self-acceptance, I'm going to say goodbye to you for now, but I look forward to talking to you later and again very soon. Great day, Masters. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share, and let's start a conversation in the comments.